All right, Mo, it's I Pick the Topic Tuesday.
I'm excited for you to pick some topics.
All right, first we're going to start with the Bearcats. What do you think their chances are moving to the ACC?
I'm not going to be surprised if other ACC schools leave and thus creating an easier path for UC to get to the ACC. I think UC is working very hard on selling themselves to the league, and I think the fact that Cincinnati does have a decent enough TV market, I think the number's 31, those numbers vary, is going to be attractive enough for them to get in. But look, I still think they face some obstacles. I could certainly see why Connecticut and Louisville would be viable options. I worry about how much money UC is going to spend, but I think from an academic standpoint, from an endowment standpoint, from a television market standpoint, and yes, from a competitive standpoint, UC is an attractive enough school for the ACC, and I do think if they spend a little bit more, find some more money to spend, they can compete in that league.
Are the Bengals one of the top 5 teams in the AFC?
No. Houston, New England, Baltimore still. Look, I know they're beating bad teams closely. They still whack the Bengals, and they're still beating bad teams. Denver. And I'm going to keep Pittsburgh there, mainly because, and I hate this argument, they are the Steelers. Roethlisberger's going to come back. They're so much better with him. They were trending toward the postseason before Ben got hurt. I'm going to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Indy, simply because of who they play. I think Detroit gives them a hell of a game. They've got to play the Texans twice. First game at Reliant Stadium. I'll put the Bengals. I know Indy's record is better. I'll put the Bengals and Colts tied for 6 in the AFC.
Okay, what does the Jonathan Broxton signing really mean?
It means the Reds might be overpaying a little bit, might be committing a little bit too much money to a closer, and it means that they want to make Aroldis Chapman a starter. Walt Jocketty has said that. Look, I know this has thus far been the hot-button topic of the winter or of the fall. There is no wrong answer when it comes to Aroldis Chapman. If you take a guy with that kind of arm and add him to an already really good, really deep starting rotation, okay, cool. And if it doesn't work out and he can go back to being a dominant closer, okay, cool. Look, the cool part is you have Aroldis Chapman. The cool part is you have some options, and it's not like he hasn't started before. I'm a proponent of him staying in the bullpen because I like known quantities, but if you're giving me a guy with Jonathan Broxton's upside, even if I'm overpaying, and I take a guy with Aroldis Chapman's upside, and I add into that starting mix, maybe create some flexibility to trade a starting pitcher and add other pieces elsewhere, and if it doesn't work out, and I've got to put Aroldis Chapman back in the bullpen, okay.
All right, last one. It's going to be random. Ole Miss was fined for students storming the field after the win on Saturday. Was this right or wrong?
Wrong. Let the kids be kids. Look, I know you should act like you've been there. I know storming the field or storming the floor is a little overstated. Look, I ran on the floor once at the University of Dayton. Why? Because I was a stupid college kid. Frankly, I was drunk, illegally, underage, which you shouldn't do. But you know what? I remember that. I was a fun. Let the kids have fun. If you're a 48-year-old guy running onto the field, dumb. If you're a 19-year-old guy running on the field, namely with a co-ed, that's cool. Schools shouldn't have to pay the price. I don't think, and I'm not that familiar with the story, that massive damage was done. I think some point you need to let college kids do harmless things and be college kids. It beats burning couches, right? West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio State fans. Yeah. Anyway, is that it?
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
Great. Tweet me at moegger1530 and shoot me an email too. Do both at the same time. Mo at ESPN1530.com.